Alright, today is What Does It All Do? We are looking at Fast Sloths, Pick Me Up and Deliver Me. Coming to us from Stronghold Games, designed by Friedman Fries. You are sloths, cuddly, lazy, and, oh well, slothful. You're sitting around in your beloved trees, of course. You want to pick up tasty leaves on other trees, but running around yourselves is just too tedious. And then you have an idea. You'll let yourselves be carried around by other animals, as they have so much more energy that they will gladly carry you. Which of you sloths will be the first to get through the entire country and be victorious? You are ambitious, but so lazy. So again, 2 to 5 players, 60 minutes, 8 and up. Let's look inside. Alright, let's get the lid off. We got a bunch of stuff. First thing on top, we have the instructions. So there's your story, your game components, the idea of the sloth race before the first game. To prepare the wood discs, you need to place the sloth stickers on both sides of the sloth token and animal stickers on the side of all the animal discs. I will say we did buy this game on consignment use, so we didn't have to do that, but just so you know, there are apparently stickers. Game preparation for the first game and some basics. So there's all your prep. There's some more. There's an example of the game setup, which I'll be showing you how it plays here after I show you all the insides. There is how to play. Your turn. All that. Winning the race. Preparation for all following games. The 12 animal species. So this goes into detail and has some examples and such of how all the different animals play. So there is all of that. Then you have a cheat sheet for all of those animals. Well, human's technically an animal, with the icon, what the card numbers are that they have, what terrain they can move on, and what it all does. So there's your human, the rabbits, the giraffe, the dolphin, the orangutan, the mountain goats, the donkeys, the unicorn, the elephants, the crocodiles, the eagle, and the ants. Alright, now we have the boards. So there are 2 of them, and they are large, and they are double-sided. So there's one side, there's the other. Let me kind of explain to you a couple things on here so I don't have to get into it later. These are resorts. These are what the humans run between. There's trees. That's going to have the leaves, and that's where your sloths want to get to. Here's bridges, water, and these are all the different terrain types on here. Then we have another board. Look, get a close-up while I unfold it. So there is your other board. So you're going to put these 2 boards together to form the full map. And then you have the multitude of options. So let me get that built. So like that would be your entire map. As you can see, quite large. Let's get that. Whee! This is fun. Alright. I'll get these out here in a minute. But there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. So you'll see you have your sloth figure and your leaves in those different colors. I have the baggies set up in 2 separate baggies, one for the starting game, one for all the other animals. Same thing with the discs, so I'll show those all to you here in a minute. And then you have your player boards with the sloth faces on the other side in the 5 colors. And then you have the inside of the box. So let me get these discs and cards laid out and show you those. Alright, so here are those cards and those discs. Let's start up here. You have a card that shows a number on there, and they vary for the different types. It shows what their power is here, what terrains it can go on right here, and this one has 2 discs. So it's kind of the same for each of these, and as I said, they are explained all in that cheat sheet and in the rule book. So there are all of that. Alright, stick around for how to play. Alright, so here we are set up for a game of Fast Sloths. I am using the first game setup and arrangement as according to the rulebook in the setup. The changes if you're going to not do that base setup is you have your choice of animals. They give you kind of a choice between two of them. They do say you can choose any combination of 6 animals, but it may make movement hindering and may make a faster or slower or harder game. The other thing that's different is the animal placement. When placing the animals out, you're going to do it in reverse turn order, which is the same order with which you are going to be placing your sloth tokens out on the board. So for this example, I am just going to be placing them as close as I can to their player boards. You're going to place them in a tree. You're going to take the leaf and you are going to put it on your player board, because the leaves will go across here, which will dictate how you can do actions. Then the start player will go. So again, looking at your player board, first thing you're going to do is you are going to grab cards. So based on where your leaf is will determine how many cards you get. At the beginning of the game, you're going to grab 3 cards. They have to be 3 different animals. You can't grab more than 1 from the same animal. As you go on, you'll be grabbing 3, but then discarding 1, only getting 2, grabbing 2, and discarding 1. So I would basically come over here, and I would say, let's go ahead and grab one of these, and one of these. Next thing on your turn, this is optional, is you can move an animal. You can only move one animal on your turn. And when you move them, you're going to be discarding cards from your hand that are all the same animal. You're going to add up the movement points, and then based on animal is how you're going to move them. Some things about when you move the animals. You can move any animal disc. There are no personal animals. For 1 point, you can move the animal to the next adjacent space in any of the 6 possible directions, but only the landscapes depicted on the cards. That movement does change based on animal. You can move the animal back and forth on the same spaces as long as you spend the movement points. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4 if I really wanted to. Or I can even go like 1, 2, 3, 4 if I so chose. Once during the movement, you can pick up the sloth from the same space or an adjacent space, even if that adjacent space is not one that the animal can typically move on. And then it can drop you off on the same space or an adjacent space, but that will end all movement. Or if the animal ends all of its movement points, it will drop you off on the same space or an adjacent one. Animals can move through spaces of other animals, but they cannot stop on those spaces. A space can only ever hold 1 animal, and then any number of sloths. As shown on the sloth board, the sloth can only be placed on certain terrain types, so that is the only ones that you are allowed to be ending your movement on. When an animal picks you up on a tree space or moves through a tree space carrying you, you will grab the leaf on the go, unless the animal card specifically says that you cannot do that. When you get a leaf, you're going to take it and you're going to put it on the leftmost open space on your board, which will then depict where you are at for drawing cards and checking the hand limit, which I'll get into after the movement thing. As I said, once you are dropped, both you and the animal have to stop moving, even if you still have movement points left. And then at the end of this card, end of this step, you're going to place all movement cards you use in ascending order in the bottom of the stack of animals. After you move or choose not to move, you're going to check your hand limit. It decreases as you get more leaves. It starts out, you can have 7 cards in your hand. You'll play the game until someone gets 8 leaves. Once someone gets 8 leaves, it triggers the end of the game. Everyone plays the same number of turns, and then whoever has the most leaves does win the game. You can get a total of 9 leaves if you arrange your movement properly, but 8 is what triggers the end of the game. If there is a tie for the most leaves, whoever amongst yourselves with the highest total sum of movement points in hand wins. If it's still a tie, then you're too lazy to care, and all of them share the victory. Let me go quickly over the starting animals that you do have in the game for what their special abilities are. The elephants, when you use these cards, no matter how many cards you use, after you total up, you're going to subtract 1 from the movement. So if I play all 3 of these, that's 2, 4, 6, minus 1, I'd have 5 movement. And then once we are done moving, the elephant can throw the sloth 3 spaces. It can throw them in a curve, it just can't throw them over mountains. The eagle, you must play at least 6 movements worth. Then what happens is the eagle flies to wherever you're at, picks you up, and then can fly you up to 6 spaces. On those, this is an instance where if you fly over a tree, you do not collect the leaf. Crocodiles. No matter how many cards you play, once you add them up, you're going to add 1, so it's 2, 4, 6, and 7. And they can move into water. And adjacent to that, one example of movement they cannot do is they cannot go here, then there, because even though that's adjacent to water, I consider it basically you have to be adjacent to the same water space, because you're basically going along the coast, whereas this one is they're running across the land, and that is not a crocodile's movement. The ants. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to use your movement points to move ants however you want. So let's say we move an ant to here, and we'll leave those as is. You can then use movement points to move along the ants. So they can pick you up, move you for 1, pick you up, move you for 1, and then pick you up and then drop you off. So the ants kind of move you along the line. Donkeys have no special powers. The unicorn is you can only ever play 1 unicorn card at a time. There are 6 other abilities. Those are in the rulebook with good descriptors, so you can find those out on your own if this game does interest you. Alrighty, hope you enjoyed the teach. Hope you like to see what's inside. And until next time, I'm the groom, wishing you a good day.